Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bidner and Ash Paulson to discuss the latest Mario Kart 8 DLC trailer for the new Excitebike Arena. So let's get started. Alright guys, so Nintendo just dropped a new trailer for the new Excitebike Arena stage, and it looks pretty cool, and actually it's a little bit different than what we expected. But the base layout of the stage is almost exactly what I predicted. I was going with more of a square idea, but I didn't mention it could be like a rectangle, and we actually ended up with an oval here. But it sticks exactly to the perimeter of the arena, so I'm pretty happy about nailing that. Otherwise, you know, it looks very much like an Excitebike track course would, except the main distinctive feature of this track is the fact that it changes. Every time you'll play it, the jumps and other parts of the track will change randomly, so it's going to be different every time, unless you're playing in time trials, in which it will always be the same. So what do you guys think about this arena?
No, I think it looks pretty cool. I like that the fact that the track changes each time you play it is kind of a cool callback to Excitebike's track editor, and the fact that, you know, you can change the position of the jumps and the ramps and the size of them, and it just looks fun. I don't think this track's going to appeal much to people who don't like jumps, of course, but I tend to like them, and it just seems like it's going to be a lot of fun careening off, you know, all the ramps and just kind of flying through the track. I do have a bit of bad news for you, though, Andre.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and that I kind of posit that the fact that this is basically a loop might kind of dash the chances for Baby Park.
Dash Baby Park?
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that. But
no!
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna put two tracks that are basically just a loop in one DLC pack.
Oh man, the only thing that saves my excitement is that amazing pun you unintentionally made.
Your excitement?
Yeah, I mean that is a tragedy. I mean, I love Baby Park, but with that said, this is like a bigger version of that.
Yeah, it is.
Although, so I do wonder, like, this track does look to be a little bit chaotic. I don't think it'll be anywhere close to on the same level as Baby Park. But you know, whatever. This track does look pretty okay, but
pretty okay. Just
pretty okay.
Just okay.
No,
All right.
I think it looks great. I like the fact that there's so many jumps involved. That means you can get a lot of speed from doing all your tricks. It just looks like it could be a very fast course. You know, and you got to dodge all the mudslides that's in there. They got bits of the track where they actually like take off to the lane, so you actually can run into the grass and stuff like that. No, it looks like a very active track and somewhat chaotic, but I think that'll work for this, because I think you go to a track like this, nobody expects this to be, you know, simple. It's going to be items flying everywhere, jumps happening. You guys saw the airtime Bowser got off one jump. I mean, it's kind of crazy seeing what they could do.
Yeah,
I love that that's here. I mean, I actually love just like how well it does capture the essence of that game, with there being a lot of jumps and a lot of airtime.
And the music too, the kind of the classic, you know, updated remix of the classic Excitebike theme, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just a nice callback, and even all the different parts that we can see that could be implemented into the course look fun and interesting. You got one where you just like drive off a ramp. You got other types of hills. You know, some of those bigger hills that you pointed out in your analysis or your prediction video, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
It just looks really fun and interesting, and yeah, I love the nice little touch that all of them are racing on, you know, bikes.
Well, this is definitely a track I can see, if you get really unlucky, this is definitely a track I can see falling really behind on, just because if there are going to be items flying everywhere, say you get, you know, knocked out at the very bottom of a large ramp, it's going to take really long for you to get up that ramp. So this is definitely a track where I see there being a lot of possibility of people falling way behind if they're very unlucky with their, you know, item hits.
Well, and not just that too, the fact that the track is so short looking, I mean, it means you'll probably be lapped relatively easily, and I'm wondering if, like Baby Park, it's actually going to have multiple laps, as I suggested it might in the analysis. Or sorry, more than 3 laps, I mean.
You know, it definitely could. I could see it having many more laps to make this go on a bit further, just because of the whole lapping dynamic. And if it is that long, so people can actually get lapped during the race, nobody is safe.
Yeah.
First place, usually you're getting first in Mario Kart 8. You're usually sitting pretty. Just make sure you have a shell ready, and you're usually pretty well off. First place, you start lapping people. No, they're getting the good items in the last place, and you're in first place, slightly ahead of them. You're in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you, Derek. It doesn't seem like a track that you can get really that far ahead on. Also, I wish they would stop showing us Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach and show us Link.
Right?
I really just don't care about either of those characters still.
I mean, they really have to be saving that just for the Zelda track. For their...
They must, yeah, they must be. That's got to be it. And I'm hoping we see the F-Zero track soon as well.
I hope so. Speaking of the F-Zero track, there's another reason I want to see that one, and that's because so far in both of the tracks I've seen trailers of, they're not making use of any of Mario Kart 8's unique elements at all. Or even Mario Kart 7's. There's no flying, no underwater, and there's no anti-gravity. So I'm guessing F-Zero is going to be pretty much entirely anti-gravity to make up for it, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, we've seen 25% of the new tracks now in the first pack, and there's no anti-gravity or anything like that, which is surprising. I mean, Yoshi Circuit, it made some sense because it's a classic track, and not every classic track needs to have anti-gravity. But
right.
Yeah, it's surprising now that we're a quarter of the way there, and we haven't seen that mechanic used again yet. Mm-hmm. So I have no doubt that the majority is still probably going to use it, but it is interesting.
I could sort of see the same reasoning behind Excitebike. It would be a little odd to have the anti-grav in this stage, and even the hang gliding, because the whole point is jumps in Excitebike, and if you can hang glide over them, it sort of defeats the purpose of having those jumps. So I can totally see why there's none of those elements in here, and I'm kind of glad for it in that case. But yeah, it's what I'm kind of curious about is when we're actually going to see this DLC drop, because they're slowly starting to give trailers for each of these tracks, and I think we're getting one a week now. And by that rate, I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know. We're gonna have to get it before we get trailers of all the tracks.
It's just strange because you think they would want to give Smash its own, kind of wide berth in terms of just letting it kind of release on its own and not having Mario Kart 8 DLC overshadow it.
That's true.
So I was thinking that maybe the DLC would come out earlier in November with Smash kind of heading up the rear of November, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, it just depends. Maybe they won't show off every track in a trailer, or maybe they'll pick up the pace of how quickly they show them off.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do like a combo trailer where they show several, like they did with the early Mario Kart trailers, where they show a bunch of tracks in one.
Yeah, that's true.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts about this track, or anything you wanted to bring up that we haven't yet?
It might take a little longer for it to get a little dull and repetitive, just because there is so much changing it up with it, so you're not quite sure what kind of layout you're going to get each time, which will definitely help with the replayability.
And not just that, they'll make it harder to dominate on this course online, because it will be different every time. So you will have to adjust your racing strategy on the fly, which I think is pretty cool.
Really, the only other thing I noticed is that Nintendo of Europe's tweet about it talks about how the track will be different every time you play it in a regular race, and I don't know exactly what that means. If they're just talking about time trials always having the same layout, which would make sense.
Well, because on the Facebook page, they actually just straight up say time trials will always have the
same.
Oh,
so regular race is everything but time trial.
Exactly, right.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, then, there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting that all the new courses that we're getting for the DLC tracks are all based on different Nintendo properties. So I wonder if the fourth one that they'll reveal is going to be another Nintendo property, or if it is going to be related to Mario in some way.
Well, if we go off the second DLC track, or pack, we know it's getting that Mysterious Forest level, which does appear to be just a new track in Mario Kart 8 style, not based on an existing IP. So if they follow that same template, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them here is as well, like not based on anything existing.
It's totally going to be an Earthbound track. I'm calling it now.
Oh,
I'm not calling it at all. It's never going to happen, but it would be really cool.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up here. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below. It's just a good way to keep up to date on everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more Mario Kart 8, including our upcoming analysis of this track and other things gaming as well. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.